Guys, welcome to day 24 of the CrossFit Liverpool handstand challenge. Again, sorry we've been taking a little bit of a break. I've been practicing my handstands, so hopefully you've been keeping up with your practice too. Just things have been going on that we haven't been able to kind of keep up with the videos. But we'll get back on it and we'll probably end up going over the 30 days as well. Seeing as though lockdowns for gyms seems to be going on for a little bit longer. We're going to keep up with practices. So we're still going to maintain kind of like doing your shoulder work, doing your hip work. If you do tend to find you've taken a little bit of time off, it'd be a really good one to reassess and see if you've gone backwards with your stretching at all, with your flexibility. Let's say on your straddle good mornings, you've been finding that you can get to a certain depth and all of a sudden you can't again. Maybe that's something that we need to maintain or we need to look at in our daily lives to see kind of like if that's a restriction for you. Again, you can adapt these warm-ups as you see fit. If there's something that you need to work on more, completely fine. This is just what I tend to do is a little bit of a warm-up for my handstands. So adapt as needed. While I've been taking a break, the big things that I've been focusing on is trying to make sure that my shoulders are more open in my handstands. I do tend to find that I'm a lot more closed off when I'm kicking up, and this is where I tend to get stuck in a freestanding handstand. So I've been trying to work on getting a little bit more into a straight line. So if you're similar, have a look at your videos. I do videos, post them up so that we can have a look as well or send them across on WhatsApp or Messenger. And the other one is keeping heels together. So really squeezing those heels nice and tight. So some of the exercises that we've done in the past, we're just going to add in a little bit of variance to make sure that you can do those two things. Heels together and open up your shoulders a little bit. Okay guys, so for the next part of your workout, we're just going to work on your shoulder flexion and extension. So using a PVC pipe, a dowel, small weights, or just your hands if you need to. You're going to do 20 seconds of shoulder flexion, 10 seconds rest, 3 times through, and then 20 seconds of shoulder extension, 10 seconds rest, 3 times through. Important things to look at, guys, is make sure that your arms are locked out. Yeah, we want to be shoulder width apart when you're doing your shoulder flexion. So as we're coming open, I want you to really focus on trying to get as far as you can backwards. The other thing is try not to lift up through your rib cage. So if I just step back a little bit so that you can see. So imagine my belt line is straight forwards here, yeah, and my rib line is here. As we're extending our arms, we don't want to let our rib line pop up. We want to try and keep it down all the way through to extend as open as we can. Yeah. In terms of doing the shoulder flexion, you want to try and make sure again that you're feeling the muscles between the shoulder blades engaging. You want to really get your back lighting up. If you're doing that correctly, that's going to carry forward to open up your shoulder in your handstand position, which we'll focus on a lot today. When you're doing your shoulder extension, that means your hands going back behind you. What you're actually looking at trying to get involved is the back of your shoulders, your rear delts, and your triceps. Yeah. Again, try and make sure that we're not letting our elbows bend, and make sure again that we're not coming into, as Kelly Starrett would say back in the day, this Delta Bravo position with the shoulder. Try and keep your shoulders back. Again, try not to flare your elbows out to the sides. Try and keep them directly behind you. So for the next part of our warm-up, guys, we're going to focus on two elements that we've done a lot of, which is going to be the bunny hop and the hollow position. What I want you to do today is just take a little bit longer over this component. So for the bunny hops, your focus is on trying to get that open shoulder position. Yeah. So maybe set up a camera. If you're finding that you are struggling with bunny hops freestanding, but you can do them up against a wall, do them up against the wall and just try and focus on getting that shoulder open. I know for me, when I go up against the wall, I end up overarching my back. And it's going to be that toss-up between getting an open shoulder versus the arched back position for me. So I'll film both of those so you can see my errors and see what you can take from those. For the hollow position, remember we're looking at getting your core nice and active and focusing on active tissues. That means stretching your body out. You're trying to focus on your shoulder position as well. So when we're in this position here, again, we tend to get that head through, but are we getting the shoulder open and the head through? Okay, so hands together, open up the shoulder as much as possible and tuck the head under. It should be a really good stretch for your shoulders if you're doing it correctly. And fighting from getting your rib cage down to getting your shoulders open should be really tough. What I want you to do with the heel part of the hollow position, I want you to get a towel, or a pair of socks, fold it up or bunch them up, place them between your heels and squeeze them for the whole of the time that you're doing the handstand, the hollow hold, sorry. Okay, so we're going to do 5 bunny hops. Again, take your time with those. That doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just want you to focus on the quality of the positioning. So either against a wall or freestanding. And then I want you to do a 30-second hollow hold after each attempt. Rest maybe kind of like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it takes you to get your shoulders recovered, your wrists recovered, your breathing back down. Then for your hollow hold, remember we've got a towel. I'm just going to place that in between my heels. That's going to focus on using my adductors, squeezing my tension all the way through. Make sure again your toes are nice and pointed. Yeah, get on screen so you can see me. So what we're looking at is push your lower back into the floor first. Extend those arms, but bring your upper back up. Reach out with your legs and squeeze your heels together. Really keeping it nice and tense all the way through. Push, reach open. Hold there for 30 seconds. If you're not shaking like a shitting dog by the end of it, really you're not trying to hold your tension as much as you can. So again, don't make it as easy as possible. Try and make it as difficult as possible. So maximum tension. Squeeze nice and hard with your heels, reach out. Yeah. Open up your chest and pull your rib cage down. Get those arms nice and straight all the way through. Guys, so for your skill component today, I want you to put in those 2 things into practice, okay? We're supposed to be doing freestanding handstands, but for some of us, we might need to take a little bit of a step backwards to go forwards again. So your goal is to accumulate 2 minutes in a handstand, okay? If you want to go back to the wall, I want you to focus on trying to open up your shoulders. Yeah, so if you're kicking up, kick up against the wall, really focus on opening your shoulders. And one of the big things that we can do is if you're kicking up, I'll show you this in a video in a second, and then you're the person who kind of lifts one leg away and then you lift the other, that's fine, but make sure that when you're lifting them off, you're then squeezing the heels together when you're off the wall, okay? Better would be keeping your feet together, squeeze your heels together while you're leaning against the wall, and then using the fingers to lift off as we do in those drills. but all the way through trying to make sure we're maintaining an open shoulder, the rib cage is down, yeah, and you're squeezing your heels together. If you're competent kicking up into a freestanding handstand, film from the side. Yeah, so film from the side and see if, like me, your restriction is that you're just not getting that shoulder fully open. So if you're here, you're going to tend to find that to even maintain like any few seconds of handstands, we've got to overarch our back to try and put more weight forwards onto our fingers. So we end up leaning our heels over just to try and maintain some distance of a handstand. The shoulder, opening the shoulder up is the really important thing that you're going to be looking for here, guys. Let's say you're kicking up against a wall. I want you to do maybe 10, 20, 30-second blocks of really focusing on those key points. If you're kicking up into a handstand, again, be willing to go back against the wall if you find that you're filming your sessions and that you're not really opening up those handstands. Give yourself a little bit of awareness. We can go back to doing it freestanding, but try and get that competency of opening up the shoulder and squeezing your heels together. So a little bit of a hint for that one, guys. The closer our fingers are into the wall, the easier it's going to be to stack your shoulders. For beginners, though, it can be quite infuriating getting right into the wall because we tend to find we bounce off a little bit. So the further away we are, the more confident we can be, but the more arched our back is, the more likelihood we have of our shoulders closing off. The closer we are in, the harder it is to balance. Like you come off the wall easily. It's very hard kicking up, but the better our position is going to be. So again, guys, just have a little bit of a play around if you're doing those wall ones. Work yourself from being maybe kind of like cubit distance to get a little bit biblical. And then just try and work your hands closer and closer and closer towards the wall until eventually we can touch our fingertips to the wall and learn to control it. So for your workout component today, guys, we've got two elements again. What we're going to focus on today is going back to your basics with the shoulders and the heels just as part of the workout. So I want you to do a 30-second wall-facing handstand hold. For your wall-facing handstand hold, we're going to walk up the wall and then we're going to think about the cues that we've just been working on. I want you to try and open up your shoulders as much as possible. Yeah, I want you to try and keep your rib cage down as much as possible. And I want you to try and squeeze your heels together as much as possible. Now just take a moment to think what that's going to look like. When we're up against the wall, to be able to get your shoulders open as much as you can, you're going to tend to find that you're going to need to be as close to the wall as physically possible. Okay? Some people might not even be able to get that close. So in that case, if you had a partner or something, you could put like a foam roll underneath their feet to be able to get them to get a little bit closer. It's very uncomfortable and it feels like you're going to overbalance a little bit. So be very wary about this one if it's your first time going right up against the wall. Other things that we want to do is if you find that your belly's touching the wall before your chest or before your nose, you know that you're overarching your back a little bit too much. So try and keep it tucked in. And we want to find that if we can, we're going to get our chest and our thighs touching, but not our belly. Yeah, because we want to try and keep that nice and hollow, and that should give you that sensation of keeping into that nice tight position. As soon as you've done a 30-second hold, if you can't manage 30 seconds, don't worry. Either go back to the box, yeah, so put your feet on the box and try and open up your shoulders as much as you can, or just reduce the amount of time that you're doing on the hold. I want you to go straight into 10 pike leg lifts. For the pike leg lifts, though, I want you to put your towel back in between your feet, and I want you to pause for a second with each repetition off the floor. Okay, so 30-second handstand holds, 10 pike leg lifts. Rest as long as you need, 2 to 3 minutes in between those sets to make sure that you